All right, welcome to it. We are back with another edition of the Sarcastic Gamer Show. It is Doc here for episode 16 in Houston, Texas, as we get into our good old-fashioned antics and hijinks. You were supposed to be drinking a beer. I just came to you, and you weren't drinking a beer.
I'm drinking it now. Look at me, I'm drinking a beer. Hello. Oh, am I supposed to really drink it? This is the magic. Used to be the magic of radio.
All right, whatever.
This is sponsored by Stella Troy.
I think it's Artois.
Artois, up here, Troy.
Stella Troy. What are you, a redneck all of a sudden?
Stella Arturi.
Give us this week's Sarcastic Gamer headlines, Lano.
Lindsay Lohan is suing Rockstar Games for misappropriating her likeness. She alleges that the character Lacey Jones in Grand Theft Auto 5, the scheming, drug-abusing, awful person, is based on her. Let that sit in for a minute. The scheming, drug-abusing, awful horror of a person, she says, is her. That sounds actually right. Seems like she's got a really good chance to actually win this one.
I was just going to say, she's going to win this, but she needs to be careful because someone's going to probably sue her for misappropriating the likeness of her because she's misappropriating her.
Very meta, Doc. Very meta.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You look cold.
Actually, dude, we don't want to get into this yet because we're still doing headlines, but I started sleeping like this, just keeping this thing on and pulled down, and I'm sleeping through the night. I don't know what it is, but I've just kept it on for good luck all day today. It's my Red Hook. I don't know if you can see it. My Red Hook Ale. I got this at the brewery in Seattle.
So we do have sponsors now, apparently.
Yeah, they all are intoxicating.
And you're a lunatic. An email was posted on Reddit from the Finnish organization named Assembly that holds qualifiers for the International Esports Foundation tournaments that read, in part, the participation is open only to male Finnish players. While the internet went into a tizzy, further reading of the email revealed that the male-only games that everybody was mad about was the beard-growing contest and the biggest penis contest. So I think they might have gone off on the wrong foot there.
Yeah, always finish the email. Just finish reading it. And also, get it? And then the other thing is, they're obviously want a very small tournament here. They're not looking for something very big.
Right. It's not a big tournament. You know, it's not up. You know, it's more of a flaccid. You know,
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, you sick bastard. No, I just meant it was open only to male Finnish players. Like, think about it. Finland, people can't even live in half of it. It's like three Finnish men. You know what I mean? There was just three guys wanting to get together. They were just inviting all of each other over.
No, it's not three. There's four. They need to finish the Finnish death metal rock group. So.
Oh,
that's a sorry.
It's all good.
Too much about Finland there. Sorry.
What's our last headline? I think we're going to have to change. I'm just, walking a tightrope here. I think until we get this whole video thing figured out, we should just talk about the headlines because it just doesn't feel as grandiose without the fun music that we usually have in between.
Well, I think you should just do the rest of the podcast with your cap over your eyes. That seems like to be the best way that you would do yourself.
It would certainly be an improvement on the visuals. What's our last headline tonight?
And finally, British regulators have ruled that an advertisement calling EA's controversial mobile reboot of Dungeon Keeper free is misleading and must be pulled. The regulators have come up with a new name for Dungeon Keeper. Instead of calling it free to play, the game will now be known as a piece of shit to play game.
Is it bad? Have you played it?
It's terrible. It's like if you want to do this, you have to wait 3 seconds, or you can buy a crystal, but you're out of crystals, so you got to spend $5 to get 5 crystals. So if you want to do anything in the game, you have to end up paying eventually. Otherwise, you have inordinate wait times. The game is a complete bastardization of the original. It's awful.
I want to talk a little bit more about this, but first, I just want to thank everybody for coming in for this 16th episode of Season 7 of the Sarcastic Gamer Podcast. Those are the headlines for this week. We've both been doing a little bit of gaming. I've been doing a little more than usual, but I haven't been really branching out. I've been playing kind of the same stuff do have a new game to talk about today. But Lano, that last headline hits on something that's just been on my mind. This whole free-to-play world here. I've enjoyed picking up some free-to-play games. I picked up War Thunder and been playing that from Steam and enjoy that. It's a free-to-play game and it's none of that wait around or it's like impossible to have fun with without paying. It's one of those games that's sort of like League of Legends where you enjoy the game so much you don't mind dropping a few bucks to grab an extra character or grab an extra plane or whatever.
Right.
But there's some of this stuff like what you're talking about that is just like I almost feel like free to play needs to be redivided into something and not correct piece of shit or whatever you were talking about. But I mean seriously, I think there needs to be like free to play. And then there needs to be something else like freemium or something, some other type of word, because there are free-to-play games that are getting a bad name by games like the one you were just talking about. There have been a couple of them that I picked up. There was one I picked up that was like Sim office building or something, and you were building these levels in this building, and it was like literally would make you sit and wait 1 minute just staring at the screen, or like you just said, pay $5 to have a something to unlock. That's so stupid. It's so frustrating.
I just choose not to play those games. I've just decided that those kind of games aren't worth my time because I feel like they're dishonest, and you're not getting look, you're getting the game for free, yes, but the amount of money that they want you to spend in order to have any level of enjoyment on it it's way out of proportion what the game is actually worth in terms of gameplay. If it's a good game, I'll spend $10 for a good iOS game if I play it.
I mean, that's the problem, though. You don't always know until you've invested some time in the game. And I think the smart of these assholes are the ones that are kind of string you along far enough into it to where you really feel like you put something in it and you're starting to feel some progress, and that's when they put the screws to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about labeling, there's something to be said. I think it's disingenuous. I think there should be, if it's going to call itself a free-to-play game, I almost feel like there should be a label on it that says, something about just discloses what it would cost to like play the full game. Like if you were going to finish the game or achieve something, the average cost, sort of like when you buy a refrigerator and it says how much that's going to cost you in electricity in a year, or they tell you when you buy a car how many miles per gallon it gets and how much it's going to cost you in fuel. I feel like there should be some labeling from the free to play vertical in gaming, because it's making me not want to click on them. I see free-to-play in Steam, and now I don't even want to click on them. I'm so glad I picked up War Thunder, but I almost didn't get it because it said free-to-play. I was like, you're going to try to rob me.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest... I think Apple does a really good job with their iOS market space by telling you before you buy it that there are in-game purchases and what those purchases could possibly be. I think one of the problems is that the way these free-to-play games work is that they're going down the pay-to-win model, whereas games like League of Legends that we always come back to, which is the shining beacon of free-to-play games because of the way that it handles free-to-play, is that it's simply aesthetics. You're buying, sure, you have to buy new characters, and the game is the characters, but you can play that game, and you can play every single character in that game and never have to pay a dime and never lose an ounce of the gameplay. And what's different is about games like Dungeon Keep or even games like Warframe is that if you want to experience what the game is all about, I guess in Warframe you can build things, but it does take a lot of time. But in games like Dungeon Keeper, if you simply want to play the game, okay, without waiting, like there's in-game waiting for up to minute, 5 minutes, 25 minutes to do things, unless you spend these crystals that you have to buy. Which that's not gaming, that's time shifting. You know what I mean? You're basically paying for time, and the only way that these games are going to go away is if people stop buying them. I mean, that's the only way. But here's the thing, though. Let me just. I want to say this one more thing, and we can move on unless you want to say something else. The thing about Dungeon Keeper is it's got such bad press. They must be making money on this game. Otherwise, why haven't they changed the model to something more fan-friendly? Somebody's spending the money.
Yeah, someone's spending the money. But, so here's another example of a game that's exactly like that one but didn't quite, somehow just skirted the press. It's Candy Crush. It's like the biggest pay-to-play game in history. You get to a point in Candy Crush, if you die 5 times, you have to sit for 20 minutes 20 minutes you have to sit, or you have to spam your friends, or you have to pay them. You know, so it's like, man, there's got to be in game design, free-to-play game design. There is, I think there's got to be a shift coming. You just said it. League of Legends is the shining beacon on the hill when it comes to free-to-play games. They've made piles of money. You don't have to fleece. That's what it is. They're fleecing the people that download the game. You don't have to fleece the people that download your game in order to make tons of money for your business, and you just have to design a game that doesn't revolve around, all right, we're going to make this game, and then every once in a while, if you don't pay us, you got to sit there for 20 minutes.
I mean, obviously. And it seems like to me as if you had charged $5 for Dungeon Keeper, I would have paid $5 for this game if I was able to play it. It's actually a fun game up until the point where you have to pay to wait or pay to continue playing. You know, it's a fun game except for that part. So it's unfortunate. It's you know, I'm of the mindset of I'd rather just pay for the game. You know, if your game is worth $15, I'll pay for it. Right. You know, if your game's not worth $15, then you know I'll probably still buy it and just never play it.
It's the same thing for me with the free-to-play games. If the game is fun and it's worth it, I've probably got $25 in War Thunder now between, you know, little upgrades or whatever I want to do. So I mean, fine. I gladly take my money, take it, because I'm giving it away to people who entertain me.
No doubt. I mean, in League of Legends, I might have put $12,000 in the League of Legends. So you know.
I bet right now he's saying that just to make himself feel better about the 500 that he actually does have in the game.
Shut up.
All right, so what have you been into? I know you've been busy this week. What have you been playing?
Let's see. Oh, you know, the new Transformers game is out. Also, I've been playing a lot of the new intercept mode for Killzone, which is the co-op expansion for Killzone. The new Killzone on PS4. I forget the subtitle of the game. Did
you go see the Transformers movie yet?
I have not. Have you?
No, I have not. I almost did this weekend and got sick, so hoping to go this coming weekend. I'm excited to do it. Besides, who wants to go to Transformers on opening weekend? I mean, my God, there were lines. We drove past the stupid theater. It was just lines around the building.
Well, I think God's telling you something because based on the reviews of the game, you're not missing out on much. Apparently, it's just a 3-hour dirt fest. But
the game or the movie?
The movie.
Oh, okay. You said game. I thought that you said
3 hour or the movie. Yeah, I'm sorry. The movie is just a 3-hour dirt fest. That's what I hear.
Dirt fest. Well, I mean, if there's fighting robots and at least a hot sweaty chick in a garage, like, hey, let's do it.
I totally agree with you. On that base level, I actually really enjoy the Transformers movies. There's a lot of stupid things in the movies, obviously. But I don't know. I definitely will still probably see that movie. But the game, interestingly enough, is a crossover between the War for Cybertron, Fall Cybertron games that High Moon Studios made, which were excellent games, and the best Transformers games to date. And they cross that with the new Transformers of the Bay movies. So what you have is amalgamation of the game starts off on Cybertron and it ends off on the Earth. And once you get to Earth, you get the Bay Transformers, which is interesting.
The Bay Transformers are a lot more expensive.
yeah, and there's a lot more American flags and girls wearing less clothes in the later part of the game, and really cool erotic explosions.
My least favorite part of the Transformer movies, the last couple, were just the not Transformers fighting parts. Honestly, I mean, I could give two shits about the backstory on a guy and his parents and them trusting him or whatever. Who gives a shit? I want to see robots fighting. And that's why I go to Transformers movie. I hate to sound shallow and stupid. Maybe I am shallow and stupid, but that's why I go to Transformers movie. So I'm interested. I'm gonna go. Plop it down the money and watch the movie on the big screen and see what I think about it. I think that heard the reviews.
People that would admit anything else are the same people that say that they read Playboy for the articles. I mean, let's face it. You're going for robot porn. You want to see heavy things smash into each other and blow up, and you want to hear Peter Cullen yell Autobots roll out, and you want to have your nerd stiffy.
Right on. All right, so but you haven't played the have you played the Transformers game? Are you saying you played it, or are you just talking about what you've seen?
No, I played the heck out of it. I want to tell everybody about it.
Oh, let's go.
It's getting terrible reviews. The funniest and frankly the most depressing review that I read was on IGN, where the reviewer admitted that at certain points in the game he didn't know whether he was playing an Autobot or a Decepticon. And as a critical thinker and as a human being that breathes, one of the things that would seem like a criteria for reviewing a Transformers game, and you know what, I'm not in gaming press anymore. I don't do that stuff. But let me just posit this to the 5 people watching this and the other 10 people, including my mom, that listens to this show on a weekly basis. Don't you think that you would need to know basically what an Autobot or a Decepticon was if you were going to review a Transformers video game? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, so that's an interesting point, but I could actually see someone taking the opposite point of view and saying a game needs to stand on its own, whether or not you're familiar with the characters or the genre or the backstory of it. If you build a game that is super like kind of predicated upon you knowing everything behind that, that would exclude me personally from a lot of games that I enjoy just fine. I couldn't really tell you the backstory on like freaking anything, actually. I'm like any of the DC Universe, Marvel characters, whatever, but I can enjoy a good Spider-Man game for the game itself and how fun it is to play. I don't need to know what who Spider-Man's mom was or why he's so angry.
I think that, for something that's been around for 30, almost 40 years, not 30 years, it's got its own backstory, okay? And it's like playing a Roman game and not knowing who Julius Caesar was, or not knowing the difference between the Romans and the Gauls. I mean, these are just basic level things that if you're going to ding the game for that, then you need to check yourself, about your own knowledge just in general about the game before you. But that's beside the point. I just think it's funny that that's something that you would criticize the game about. But overall, I mean, unless you want to jump in here, I'm ready to get down to it. This is called Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark.
How does it play? Tell me about how it plays.
Well, it plays like the other games. I mean, there's really technically nothing different between the War and Fall for Cybertron games. In fact, the character models are identical. There's more Transformers in this. You have the Dinobots, you have the Insecticons. It goes through a level where it starts off. The game actually starts off well. It does something interesting where halfway through the level, the Autobots are chasing the Decepticons, or the Decepticons are chasing the Autobots, and halfway through the level, you become the Autobot that's being chased. Okay, and you finish the level that way, and it kind of does that for the first couple of levels until finally you're just the Autobots for the rest of the game, which is kind of odd. And it's got this odd story about Lockdown, which is apparently the new Transformer bad guy from the movie, and it doesn't really make any sense in terms of what the hell's going on. And then it does this kind of 180 where it leads you back at the end of the game. It leads you all the way back to the G1 Transformers, which are the Transformers from the original cartoon, which is interesting. So the game in and of itself is fine, okay? If you like Transformers, you like the...
Tell me what you're doing. You're telling me about the story, but tell me what are the mechanics? Am I controlling a robot and fighting first person? Is it third person? How does the game work?
It's a third-person shooter. You're going through the levels and essentially, shooting bad guys. There's a variety of weapons. You also have your transformation into your vehicle, and the vehicle has its own weapons. The driving is weird because one of the things about the game is that when you want to transform into the vehicle and drive around, the problem is the driving is horrible. It's like almost like there's a delay in you turning in your car turning. So it's almost like driving is almost impossible and to do it with any measure of efficacy when you're driving around the levels. It's extremely difficult. The actual, the fighting is fine. The Transformer stuff is all there. As you play through,
I understand that you want your Optimus Prime to have rack and pinion steering, but I mean, maybe that's just how it is when you're a Transformer. They put all the effort into like the flying and turning into a big walking robot, and when it gets to driving, it just kind of works that way. This is how it goes.
I guess, and if that's the way you want to go, that's fine, but it's not fun. It's not fun for a game,
Hey, look, they're just making a realistic model. They're making it true to Transformer lore. That's what you wanted.
Because we all know how the rack and pinion steering works on a Transformer. Speaking of things you should know before reviewing a game, so here's where it gets bad. The graphics in the game, except for the models of the Transformers themselves, are terrible. It's like 5 years ago graphics.
Oh.
Okay? You're talking about looking at buildings that are so low res. It's like you're playing something out of a PS2 game. Okay, honestly.
No.
The level graphics on the Earth levels, which is later in the game, are deplorable. I can't even justify it. It's terrible. But yet, there you are playing as Grimlock, as a giant T-Rex Transformer, stopping through the environments and killing everything, which is just fun. It's just fun. I don't care. You know? And, the thing is about this game, if you like Transformers and you're into the movies and you're into the previous two games, you're going to like this game. The escalation mode is there, although I find it to be easier than the previous escalation modes, and it's a little bit more bland than the previous escalation modes, which is unfortunate. Here's where this game does something right. Throughout the game, either in escalation mode or in the main campaign, as you progress, you level up, okay? And it's some arbitrary number. It doesn't really matter towards your actual guy, but as you level up, you unlock weapons. You unlock ways to improve those weapons. You unlock other Transformers to use in the escalation mode. And so it's this kind of thing where you're constantly wanting to unlock things so that you're able to use new weapons to upgrade those existing weapons that you like, and also to unlock cool Transformers for the escalation mode, like the original cartoon Optimus Prime, or Shockwave, which is one of my favorite Decepticons, or Soundwave, or Bumblebee, the Earth version and the Cybertron version, So you're constantly moving forward in this and upgrading, and there's also ways that you can modify the game. So as you're playing the game, either in campaign or in escalation mode, you can use these modifiers to make it more difficult. So for instance, the modifier that I use all the time gives you a 200% boost in XP, and what you get is you get a faster fire rate, but all the bad guys have more health, which is interesting because you can couple that with some of the more slow-firing but more powerful weapons to really just wreak havoc in the environments, and that is in and of itself fun.
Except
so the fun of the game is
not PlayStation 2 graphics.
Yeah, so the fun of the game is not marveling at the graphics, okay? It's not. Right. The fun of the game is mixing and matching these perks with the weapons that you like that you've been upgrading because you've been leveling up your character. And then using that in escalation mode, running around with Megatron in escalation, or running around with, with Lockdown, or running around with, Jetfire, or Shock, or Slips, whatever his name is, Starscream. In escalation mode. Your favorite Transformers, they're all in there, and so that's the fun of the game.
Is this a typical movie game? Is this like, would you say, I mean, movie games tend to get rushed out. It's like, hey, we got to finish the movie now, make a game about it quick. We're coming out in 8 months or whatever. Is this?
No, I would say it's not. My only here's my critique. Here's, I think, a lost opportunity with this game. There's so many Transformers that you can unlock. The only way to experience them, to see what they look like, what the transformation is, and how they move around, is when you actually play the escalation mode. It would be fantastic if there was like a training mode where you could just swap out Transformers and just kind of run around an environment to see what this thing does. Where you could look at the Transformer, because so in the original war for Cybertron, Optimus Prime compared to Bumblebee had different stats. So Optimus Prime was slower, he had more hit points, and he was stronger, but he was slower. Bumblebee was fast and maneuverable, but he had less hit points. They kind of did away with that here, so all the Transformers are essentially the same, which makes it more bland, but you get all your favorite Transformers. There's like 25 or some Transformers in it, or maybe more.
Well, it sounds like something I probably would not enjoy, but I mean, I think it's cool that you've offered your kind of perspective on this. I mean, you're not being apologetic for the graphics or anything like that, but it does seem to me a little odd that in this day and age where things are being rendered at 60 frames per second and 1080p, and we've got crowds of people in FIFA that are 400 different character models that get up and go to the bathroom and then return to their seat, that the guys who are creating a Michael Bay joint video game version can't get a building right. That sounds to me like a little bit of mailing it in, or maybe it's a little bit of a rush job.
I think the problem that you're going to see in games for the next 6 months or so that are coming out is that they were made for both the PS3, the PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. So you're dumbing it down to the lowest common denominator, and I think that's the biggest thing holding this game back. I think that a new Transformers game on the next-gen consoles will be sick. I don't think High Moon Studios actually made this game, and they made the previous 2 games. So, but look, I've had a lot of fun with the game. I personally have had a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I don't recommend anybody buy this game until it gets down to like $20.
All right, well, there you go. So I have been playing a game very recently. Just the other day, I picked up a game off of Steam during the summer sale. Picked up a bunch of stuff during the summer sale. Couldn't get some of it to run. I have it I bought games that I can't even play now that I just bought them because they're cheap. And when I get my gaming PC one of these days, I'll be able to play them.
Nice.
But I picked up DayZ, and I put it on my wife's laptop, which is the only PC in the house. And literally, it's like,
right.
like I get 2 FPS. But I got Kerbal Space Program. Have you seen this? You have to have seen it. It's all over Steam.
Say it again. Kerbal
Space Program.
Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah, you haven't seen this.
No. My computer, since I moved, it's been about a month since I've had my PC hooked up, so I really haven't been on my computer at all.
This is a sandbox game in which you are basically recreating a space program. So you want to get from Earth to space, and then you want to get from there to like different planets and build orbiters and that sort of thing. The thing is, though, when you first start off with this game, you don't know what the frick you're doing. Like, you cannot figure out what you're doing in any way, shape, or form with this game. You're like, I don't even know how to put an engine on this thing. You're literally having to try something, put it on the launch pad, and then send it up into space and see if it works. And about the first 10 times you do it, it just falls on the ground and then explodes. And so you have to work your way through trial and error. You're creating a space program. You're learning how to do it. And it's got these little funny cartoon guys. They kind of look like the guys from what is those little yellow guys with the one eye in the cartoon?
The Minions?
Minions. They look like Minions or whatever. They're like that, except they have 2 eyes. But and you're just launching these poor fuckers up into space constantly, over and over again, trying to get them up there, and things go wrong, and you've got to add booster rockets, and then it gives you objectives like, hey, get to the moon and dock with the spaceport. And it's not just like some pre-scripted thing. It's a complete sandbox thing. You have hundreds of parts that you can use for this thing, and you have to slowly figure out what each part does and how it works, and get it right, and get the trajectories right, and how much fuel to put in the thing. And I've killed hundreds of these little poor guys in there, and what's so funny is when you send them up into space, so you're watching like the NASA view, and then you have like this little camera in the bottom right corner of the screen, like on Google Hangouts, and it's like the guy's face as he's launching, and he's getting the G-forces, and he starts to realize things are going wrong, and he's trying to get out of there. It's like hilarious to play this game, and yet tons of physics, tons of fun, lots of creativity, 100% sandbox. So you figure out your own way to get to other planets.
So this basically is a little minion murder simulator. You're basically playing you're Dr. Evil, and you're trying to figure out all these different ways under the guise of a freaking space program how to send these guys into space. But realistically, you know they're not going to make it, and you know that they're not going to make it, and yet you send them up into space anyway, Doc.
So far, 0% of my pilots have survived.
And yet, you continue to do this over and over again, thinking the result is going to be different, to forward your space program, knowing that you're going to kill these guys every single time they go up, and you keep doing it. And you're recommending this game for our future sociopaths of the world?
So by the way, this game on normal pricing is $29.99. It's an early release, so it's still in its alpha stage, and it's a blast in alpha. It's awesome. And if you don't have a great computer, I have my wife's crap top here, and it runs just fine on there on lower settings. So it works fine on older computers, which you actually don't usually see until like the beta or the gold stage for games. It's usually they make them super resource intensive when they build games, and then they figure out how to make it more efficient as they get through the process. This game is working just fine in alpha on a really shitty laptop. So it's $29.99 to buy it. I got it for, I want to say $11 or something during the Steam summer sale. I would definitely wait for it to either go gold if it's going to stay $29.99, or just watch for it to go on sale again through Steam. fantastic fun.
Instead of
like physics stuff.
Kerbal space program, it should be like Joseph Goebbels' space program. It's like the experiments that you're running here. I mean, Jesus, you send them to the showers after they're done? I mean, come on.
No, there's nothing to send to the showers. They're literally liquefied when I'm done with them.
No, even better. That's cool.
That's fun. I like the game, and I've also been playing War Thunder, like I've been saying, and enjoying that. And I've got that game probably, like I said, $25 I think in that game, and it's so much fun. If you like flight sims, more realistic stuff, super fun.
So how are we doing on time?
We're running late. We're about done.
All right. Well, let me just do my Killzone intercept talk, and then we'll finish it up. You know what? First, let's do our sarcastic supporters.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I want to say thanks to all of our sarcastic supporters. We have had a whole bunch of folks that have stepped up recently to become supporters. So it's just thank you so much. If you don't know what a sarcastic supporter is, it's somebody who just wants to be a part of the show to an extent and decides that they're going to give $1, $2, $5, $10 a month. There's different levels you can give. It's totally voluntary. You can stop whenever you want. So if you see a show you like, become a supporter for a month, and then next month we piss you off, cancel on our asses. But we'd love for you to become a sarcastic supporter. We need some more support for the show to keep things rolling and keep the lights on. If you get a chance to stop by sarcasticgamer.com, click Sarcastic Supporter at the top of the screen. Again, man, you can start for $1, see how that feels, see if that feels good to you. The $10 a month supporters, they get something special from Lano.
Yeah, they get a minute of uninterrupted praise from yours truly. And if you're super special like Ian Crane, you get to come on the show, which we'll eventually get to once we get this dialed up and get everything fixed. I don't know, we're obviously still technologically challenged on the show here, but the way that we have it set up now, once I get my stuff more set up on my side and I get a better microphone, we will also be able to incorporate having people on the show as well, which is something we'll be able to do for our big supporters.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think pretty much every Diamond supporter deserves to be on this show, and I would love. I mean, can you imagine you, me, and Plugel on a show? That's got to be something. That's got to at least be interesting to watch. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That will happen, and he just needs to create 3 more different people at $10 a month, and we will eventually let him on.
No, I love you, Jordan. All right, so we're going to finish up tonight on Killzone. Lano doesn't even remember the moniker of this game, but he's going to tell you about Killzone blank, the blank of the blank blank.
The blankety blank. I think it's Killzone Shadowfall, which is the first-person shooter for the PS4 that came out. That game is really good looking. You want to compare night and day. You put Transformers next to Killzone, and it's like, what? It's like the Mona Lisa, and then it's like HD porn. It's like totally different right there.
Wait a minute, which one's good?
The HD porn is the better looking. Okay, thank you. Mona Lisa is kind of, yeah.
All right.
That's the Mona Lisa is Leonardo da Vinci in a wig. You know that, right?
I wouldn't know, so I was just asking you. Thank you.
Hello. And Anal Trainer 5. Anal Trainer 5 is not Mona Lisa. Just.
They really mailed it in on that, didn't they? God.
They sure did.
You really kind of felt laughing when you bought that. You got backdoored. I feel like I got backdoored.
Yeah, you feel like at some point they just started going down the wrong road. At that point, the dirty road.
Oh, that's disgusting. Please stop this. Oh, please stop this.
I was gonna hold off, but you went and decided to go into the back door on that one for me, and.
Yeah, this whole thing stinks. Right. Let's keep going.
You're just shitting all over my talk here.
Come on, you stinker.
All right. Hello.
Oh, dumb humor. Dumb, stupid humor.
My skin is so dry. My skin's so dry, I need lubrication. All right. So, Killzone Shadowfall. What?
It just reminds me. Your joke was the last one was really bad. Oh. It reminded me of So I Married an Axe Murderer, where they're sitting in that cafe. Anyway, it's fine. Go ahead.
I digress. So Killzone Shadowfall has a multiplayer, and they just came up with a co-op that's $10. It's an add-on. It's got 4 maps and 4 classes that you can play. As you go through and play this game, basically what it is you're scoring points, and then you need to take those points back to your base and score those points. If you die, you lose your points. So there's like this incentive to stay alive and to get points. There's 4 different classes. One's a tactician, which you would love. You get 3 turrets that you can put down.
Ooh.
It's a first-person shooter. And what it is, there's a base, and there's 3 areas throughout the map that you have to keep control of in order to win. You have to get to a certain point total, and you get those point totals through kills and through holding the areas. Okay. So the turrets work. So a tactician plays with these turrets, and you obviously position the turrets wherever you want, and usually putting 1 on each area to defend it as well as you can. You have the medic, which is the linchpin for your group, because he can keep you alive so you don't lose your points. So every time you get downed, you automatically lose half your points. If you die, you lose all of them. If the medic saves you, you get to keep half of your points. So it's very important that your medic keeps you alive, because it costs points to respawn, which lowers your total. And when you're trying to get your total up to a certain amount, if you're constantly dying and not keeping your points, you're not going to win. So the medic is the linchpin. Now, the medic and the tactician cannot pick up weapons from fallen enemies, which is important, because when you get to the marksman class, they serve as
like they get up to it and they're like, I don't know what to do. My hands do not work. I cannot pick up this man's weapon. What do I do? I'm just a medic here. How do I reach down? Wait, what are you doing? How did you do that?
Marksman, so smart. Pick up gun.
What a stupid mechanic. Oh, you can't pick up what? Don't you dare. Don't you touch it. You're a medic. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
but I digress. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead.
No, because the tactician only has a pistol, so you get all your points off of the turret kills by positioning turrets. So they're forcing you to use the turrets, basically.
Yeah, but you put the turrets down and then your hands are free. Like,
but you get a pistol. You get a pistol, a pistola. And then the medic has like a submachine gun, but it's like all over the place. You're like, oh!
It sounds kind of like they created Team Fortress out of Killzone.
Yeah, and then you have the marksman, and he's got a really cool. He starts with a sniper rifle and like a really cool sniper rifle that has explosive bullets that will when you hit the guy, explodes, and you get multi kills out of it, and it's just amazing fun to use.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and then you have the assault class, which is basically this dude that can't die. He's got like super speed ability, plus he can heal himself, plus he's got this auto shotgun with incendiary bullets. So you're just like running as fast as you can, killing everything, and he can retake lost areas faster than anybody. So
cool.
So he's the guy that is going out and actually retaking things as you lose them. So he's kind of like the kamikaze dive bomber. The marksman can sit up. There's some really fun sniper roosts in a lot of these maps where you can just sit back and just poke people all day. The tactician's setting turrets down, and the medic's just basically running around putting supplies down, keeping everybody healthy, and supporting everybody else.
How does it feel on this? I mean, you remember shooters on PlayStation 3? It felt emptier. It felt like you were there by yourself. Has that changed? Or is I've noticed shooters on Xbox are starting to get that way too, even on 360. It's less people talking to each other like there was back in the old days. It's like people are like, yeah, we can talk to each other, and now I'm kind of over that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you're going to find on the PS4 is that the experience on PS4 getting shooters is completely different than it was on the PS3. The infrastructure is simply there. Everybody's got headsets. Everybody's talking. You can mute people. I play Warframe all the time. People are constantly talking, and I'm just muting people, so I don't have to listen to them prattle on.
That's right, Milano.
When you play escalation mode,
you're muting them. That's how it's going. I am. Sure.
Let the record reflect. I muted them, Your Honor.
Okay.
In escalation mode and Transformers, I'm finding plenty of people to play with. In intercept mode, I'm finding plenty of people to play with. Even though the number of people playing intercept is only in the hundreds, the low hundreds, like 100 people playing, still always finding a game relatively quickly. And when you play with your friends, it's still really great too. I mean, you can really play this game alone without talking to anybody because each individual, you can only play as one class. So there's only 4 of you, and each one of you is the separate class. You don't have 2 marksmen. You don't have 3 tacticians.
Oh, I see.
So you can only be that class. So you all know what your role is.
Do you get to decide what class you want to be in? You just wait for like a chance for a marksman to like we need a marksman coming over here.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, well, you don't select it before you go into the game. You select it when the game starts. So it's like a race to pick whichever class you want. If I have any complaints about, so what my point is that you don't need to talk to that person because everybody knows what their role is. If you're not doing your role, you're not scoring points, you're not advancing progress, you're not advancing your character, and you're not unlocking new weapons. So you're not, nobody's going to, I mean, there are people like Grief, and you can vote kick them out relatively easily, and I haven't actually run into that. My only real complaint about this game is, number one, complaints would be, number one, there's only 4 maps, so repetition gets there. Sure. And the second one is that it takes a long time to unlock a new weapon. And it's unfortunate because you can unlock up to 4 new weapons. But I mean, I've been playing the crap out of the tactician. I haven't unlocked the first weapon yet, and it's kind of annoying. So that's my only real gripe about the game. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. For $10, easily recommend it for Killzone players.
That sounds kind of cool to me. If I had a PS4, I think I'd probably actually gravitate towards that more so than any of the normal multiplayer. Just the big fracas. Get up, get shot, fall down, die, spawn, fall down, die.
The thing about intercept is. It is the horde mode, and it is a horde mode. Like, there are a ton of dudes that like converge, and it's very common for you to get overrun in your position because there's only 4 of you. It's very common for you to get attacked by like 15 guys at once.
Oh, geez.
So it's fun. It really is fun.
Well, awesome. Well, we're about out of time. We still have Game of Thrones to do, and Lana, what I feel like maybe we should do is this Sunday. So this Sunday we're going to do another show. And we got a couple people watching here, not that many, 6. This Sunday, I think we should put some time on the books and do just a Game of Thrones episode. Let's just do that.
Can we do Game of Thrones, and Orange is the New Black?
Yes, let's do that. Yes.
Right.
Because I've got 2 more episodes of Orange is the New Black. I'll watch one tonight, one tomorrow, and I'll be ready to go by Sunday to talk Orange is the New Black and Game of Thrones. That sounds great.
Okay, maybe next week we could pick somebody to come on the show.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. So we'll do our Orange is the New Black and Game of Thrones this Sunday, and then the next week we'll start bringing on some of our Diamond supporters to be our guests.
Yeah, we'll do like a 10-minute segment or something with them.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, cool. Well, have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching this if you're on YouTube. Thanks for listening if you're on the podcast. And however it is you consume the show, we appreciate that you give up half an hour, or in this case a little more, to hang out with us. And thanks for putting up with our new format as we're still trying to get all of our pieces together. It's a learning process. Thanks, guys. Good night. See you later.
See ya.